We are indeed. Round number 22 coming in momentarily. Fnatic do have the lead for now, 11-10. They do have a full buy here from what I can see. 4 AK-47s, now 5. No AWP for them. Double AWP set up on the MouseSports side. That's going to be Oscar and Chris J, like we said. Quite a formidable duo, I have to say. Chris J obviously was the main AWPer at one point for MouseSports. Let's get into it, shall we? We'll have a default play from Fnatic. 3 players actually towards Ivy, and Dennis waiting behind the server as well, using that smoke to his advantage. He's going to have a tough time here up against it. He'll be pre-firing this for sure, maybe even boosting over. I think he's done for. This looks very problematic.
Smoke goes down. Dennis will back off to hold the reverse side of it. Flash through, and Dennis is already backing off. Smoke only has a finite amount of time, and he doesn't want to be caught out because of it, so safely gets inside of the alleyway again. Molotov off, more delay, 1:08. He's used quite a bit, but it brings Chris J in. He throws the Molotov that bounces off the wall. They know he's left side. It brings Chris J in from the right. Catches them off. Lowell gets Dennis as well. So guns up, and it's MouseSports that still seem to be in control.
Yeah, liking this a lot from MouseSports. Chris J applying the pressure left, right, and center with that AWP. Finds his second frag of the round as well. 4-2 now. JW and Flusher certainly capable of putting this round back in their favor, but the odds are stacked against them. JW makes his way towards Olofmeister, and we'll see whether he can do anything with this position. 30 seconds remaining now. There's the first frag. Now they have a chance. Picks up the AWP as well, his favored weapon.
2-on-3, and JW. He's been active. He's been mobile. He's going to try and open up more for Flush. At this point, he's holding an angle just to make sure that Flush is not going to get caught off guard by anyone that wraps around Bomb Train or from the alley position. And Flush gets himself where he wanted to go, toward the hitch to check the angle, but can't find the kill onto Rops. He will go down to JW, who has bomb, but time is gone. 1 second. And it's 11-11. MouseSports back into it. JW has to save the AWP. He will. He's gone far enough away. But it still brings into question the money for Fnatic, and MouseSports are starting to actually take quite a commanding control of the situation.
Yeah, looking great here. I have to say on Train, this has been a good performance from them. After going 6-0 down as well, they've lost both pistols so far. This is a great comeback. They're looking like the better team overall, and a forced buy, I think it's a partial buy, okay. So they get maximum loss bonus next round, so trying to back up the AWP with 4 Tech 9s, armor as well, a few smokes to work with here. Obviously the pressure falling on JW's shoulders, trying to get opening picks here. Goes towards inside of the start, dodges the flashbang, picks towards lower ramp, but Oscar very fast, manages to get the initial headshot as well, shuts down the AWP. Flusher will recover it, but nice opening pick there. That was a key duel. JW even expecting that flash, turns away from it. Oscar beats him to the punch.
Dennis is backing off. They have to. AWP from Flusha. Can't find an opening. It's on Flusha, not JW, obviously having gone down. He's the one to pick it up and work with it. Bomb for Crims. Ops is on top of the train on entry. Has a great angle on the M4, and it's protected angle in the fact that he's also got Oscar on one of the 2 AWPs on the CT side watching the upper entry position. This will be a fast B hit to try and get a plant down. Setup is actually quite endearing for MouseSports. If they get a plant, it's only because Rops was unable to get multiple kills. He's already found 1. It's going to be Flush up. Goes down. Dennis does get Rops immediately after, but Oscar's got Dennis back. The fact that they get Rops, though, does mean a plant may be possible, and Crims picking up the AWP finds a shot down the lane, but 29 seconds, he's still not sure where to go. He's going to hold up, see if he can catch anyone off. Crims immediately gets Dennis as well. This becomes interesting now in the fact that it's 3 ops in play. It's definitely workable for Crims, who goes back toward the outer site, but Chris is waiting for it, smartly positioned so that ladder was covered off.
Indeed, MouseSports take the lead though, after getting a 3-0 against him in the second half, 5 rounds in a row. Maximum loss bonus for Fnatic, no bomb going down, and JW, who didn't get any previous money after saving the AWP on the T side, he's at about 4k, so I don't think the AWP's possibility here for Fnatic whatsoever. MouseSports now a great chance with the double AWP setup they have to really start running away with this game. They've got the advantage for sure. They've got full buys, 3 M4s, and all the utility they need as well. Going to run number 24 here. MouseSports with the lead. Inside control coming in from Fnatic. There's going to be Flush from Crims. Just pushing back Oscar at the brown horse position. He can't find the initial frag. Has to fall back here. He has been quite deadly, I have to say, in the last few rounds. Rops, though, maybe even deadlier. Such a strong player. 19 frags for him so far. He'll be anchoring towards that B site. We do have Olofmeister holding towards Ivy. He's with Dennis as well. They do the run boost successfully. don't think anyone was there to actually spot them, though. It's actually quite a tentative hold from the CT, focusing on main entrance. They could be pushing in here.
That's quite an awkward exchange with the flash down. Lowell gets blinded up on the way through as well, but gets JW.
It's good, though, from MouseSports. Getting some map control back. Very quiet round so far. Flash in. Definitely wasn't the prettiest of frags, but they get it. 5-on-4, and it's going to funnel Fnatic towards Ivy here. And that's the weaker part of the map for MouseSports. Oscar on the backtracks watching the right-hand side. Dennis sort of watching the left, but just trying to cover his teammates for now.
Oscar's still waiting. Chris J better position on his AWP. They set a perfect crossfire, and Fnatic walks into it. Oscar's going to try and continue to watch the same angle, so they cannot wrap towards CT. Crims is locked off. Blusha has to create an opening for him. It's still doable in the fact that if they get Chris J, which he had a chance to do, and does, he creates space walking in from Ivy, but Lowell gets the trade immediately as he was intended to do so from A main, and Rops is able to get Crims. We go 13 rounds now for MouseSports. Lost round bonus at maximum effect for Fnatic, but no bomb plant.
Yeah, they can keep partial buying here. It's like every other round you can bring a full buy in, so you have about 4k per player, a little bit less than that overall. So what's the options here? Take a pause for sure. Let's work it out. So you're up against a double orb setup right now. I would say do a partial buy with the Tech 9s. Get armor as well, 5 smokes, and the best way to lock out those orbs, of course, the smoke grenades. Go for the wall of smokes, push through those smokes, get a bomb down, get that snowball effect going in your favor. I think that's the best call here. If you force buy into it, just AKs and little utility, I think you'll get eaten apart by the double orb setup. And MouseSports looking great, changing their setup up. Not hyper aggressive, not like pushing Ivy or inside ramp, but they're waiting for everything to subside. The default to come in for Fnatic, flashing towards main entrance, find that first pick, and looking like it's going very well for them indeed. Oscar there, I'm not finding anything at the upper ramp at the very start of the round, went towards CT spawn, watches the backtracks like we said. That's where Fnatic chose to go as well, and that double orb setup looking very good, I have to say.
Well, we get a tactical timeout, which brings in some nice rock music.
Yeah, you like to see that.
Like to hear that.
Yeah.
Don't really see it.
I like to see the tactical timeout.
Oh yes, absolutely. That I'll agree with Hank. I'm with you.
So like we said, partial buy, they could have definitely forced about 4k per player. I prefer to see this. Use some smokes, try and get the execution going, bomb plant down. That's the best way to counter, which is not... Okay, I thought they still had the double orb set up. It looks like they lost Chris J's orb in the process. So they didn't actually manage to recover that, so we'll see whether they can do anything here. Right at 25, MouseSports looking for 14. But Fnatic, historically, so good at these pistols.
Back off with them. They used to be known as Technatic, Fnatic 9.
Technatic?
Technatic.
Yeah, I haven't heard that before.
Do you remember when they had someone switched the logo to be the Tech 9?
No.
Incorporated into the Fnatic logo? It was about a year ago.
Yeah.
So smoke execution with the Tech 9s to try and get a fast plant on the outer site.
Yeah,
passive positions as well for MouseSports means the smokes could actually lead to a plant, but beyond that, without weapons, is where the real challenge comes in. Smokes go all the way down. Have they missed one toward the inside of the E-box? I think they have. Lowell's positioned there for if he waits for this. He's going to play the gap on the inside. He actually could have swung out and caught them all going to the train. Elects not to. Drops down. He's actually given them more room than perhaps they were worth in this sense. So they do get a bomb plant out of it because there was no smoke pitch side. Thankfully, no one watching it. And they've got the situation controlled as Flusha, the last alive, is going to be taken down eventually. Rock should be able to do it. Does. Bomb to be defused, but at least a bomb plant for Fnatic. That was the intended goal. Yeah, like we said, that makes a lot of sense. When you got the Tech 9s, get the smokes out. Wasn't the best execution for sure, as you pointed out, but they get the bomb down, and that means they get a really healthy buy going into round number 26. MouseSports, though, touching distance. This Swiss former, best of one. Get the 3-0, and you're out of the group, but Fnatic now up against it. What's their play here? Only winning so far the pistol and the subsequent rounds after that. He got the 3-0 sure, but yet to post a gun round here. Been a very CT-sided affair. 7 rounds in a row now. One more for match point. Smokes towards outside once again from Dennis and co. Just to buy some map control, bait out some CT grenades. Double orb setup rolling once again for MouseSports, of course. Oscar and Chris J up towards inside of the upper ramp, and actually once again Oscar with that combat orb towards the lower ramp, trying to open things up. Might get a chance here. The weak Flusha encroaching on his position, but for now another default. JW and Olofmeister this time working towards Ivy. They have got the orb out once again, so JW very slowly but surely will be trying to get the first pick. Run boost coming in. The idea is to allow Olofmeister to get across undetected. Maybe take the aggro away on the right hand side and then
JW gave it the pick. Oh, did it work? No, it definitely did not.
Didn't spot whether or not Dennis was peeking when it failed, because he would have been able to see that and knew what they were up to. They bring the op down anyway. They can still set a crossfire. Each side is watched. So no element of surprise in that sense, or no bait and switch to be available. As Dennis, with a Molotov, gets ready to execute from inside of A main. But look at this push from Mouse. They've already cleared Brown Halls. They've already cleared B. They're pushing up. Rops is above them. They've got Oscar to watch down the lane. He's already gone back to the ladder. So not only have they now pushed them completely back toward the A site, there's no access to B. They've got a setup to set up a crossfire inside of the site when they arrive, and Oscar and Chris J go to work. Straightforward. Down goes Olaf as well. This is so good for MouseSports. That is very, very good, I have to say, on the CT side. I'm impressed.
Looking much better here, MouseSports on the CT side. This is great. Going 6-0 down in the first half before Fnatic, they're turning up. They've shut down MouseSports. The big names aren't arriving, but that was not the case at all. MouseSports, once they get into the zone, they're looking fantastic right now. Great reads, calculated risks coming in as well after getting that first pick. Like I said, completely overall in the inside area. Fnatic, a complete oversight. Didn't watch that at all. They had players towards T-steps above Pop Dog. MouseSports finding all the orb shots here, and it has to be a force by now for Fnatic. Sure, maximum loss bonus, but...
Apparently it was Fnatic. Sorry, I got it wrong.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. I like yours as well. It's a good try.
Thanks. At least I'm original.
Khalil's UMPs, couple of A gears to work with, little utility, Flush and Dennis with no nades whatsoever. This is match point in MouseSports. Trying to win the first game here, but Prims, he's got other ideas. He's going to find the first frag.
Chris J, smoked off, has company. Oh, reacts accordingly, takes down Olaf. As Lowell gets Flusha, it's all to Crims and Rops. Well, you may have gotten your wish. You may have just beaten Fnatic once, at least, in your words. Crims might have other ideas, though. He's got two good shots, I have to say, with a Galil. Far range, takes down Oscar and Lowell, brings it to a 1 versus 2. Bomb down inside of the site becomes the issue for him, but he's got a minute to work with in trying to regain that. And look at the doubled up position. Very good for MouseSports. They're going to play this together, and together they shall succeed. Chris J gets the kill. They go up into the 1-0 bracket, and Fnatic will fall into 0 and 1. Swiss system, remember. So still a chance to fight through.
Yeah, turmoil continues for Fnatic. They're definitely not looking themselves at the moment. Winning both pistols there, Matt, as well. Converting one of which to 6-0, 1 and 3-0 as well. So it's not good enough on the second half. They looked so cagey. Didn't really have a game plan from what I could see. Lots of defaults, not getting the picks they needed. They need to fall back to that strategy. We've been told they've been working on that. Hasn't really been convincing me so far. The set pieces they had with the Tech-9s, missing smokes, and overall, that was actually a very calculated and convincing performance from MouseSports, especially from Rops.
Well done to Mouse. We're going to take a short break. Fnatic fall down. We'll be back with the desk.
Infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power, infinite power. Infinite power.
There it goes, game 1 of ESL 1 Cologne, powered by Intel. We've gone and done it, we've got our first game under our belt, and so have MouseSports as they pick up the win. Our analysts, of course, I'm joined by Chad Birchall and Janko Paunovic, did give MouseSports some degree of an edge, albeit minimal. And in that second half, it did feel like perhaps it could have been exacerbated. Things did get exaggerated as well. We got to see MouseSports starting to run away with it. 16-11, the final result there. Gentlemen, where do we start? MouseSports knocking Fnatic on their bottom.
Yeah, Alex, I got a new shirt. Unfortunately, Fnatic didn't show us a new face. It's similar to what we saw at ECS finals. Pretty underwhelming, as the guys pointed out, casting 6-0 start in one half, 3-0 start in the other, and can't win the game. That's almost unheard of, especially for a team like Fnatic, who we always tend to say if they start off strong, they can run away with the game. That means that they're pretty much on point. But Mouse, again, shown how they evolved as a team, shown resilience, and showed that they're capable of coming back into a game, even on the more difficult side.
Now, Chad, you pointed credit towards LMBT, suggesting we should give him more praise, perhaps, and they call a timeout. Suddenly, MouseSports are back in the game. Probably some fingers to be pointed.
That was on Oscar, you know, winning those two back-to-back clutches. So that's kind of what got them back in the game, and then they did lose that eco, where I think JW got 4 frags, right? So that was a bit of a blunder. They definitely started slow. That we already touched on that. But the fact that they got into the game and then closed it out in this kind of fashion it's great to see. I think, you know, Oscar, we always talk about him being one of the stars. These are the kind of performances you need from your players. They need to be able to stand up and do this when times are tough, and he definitely did it.
He certainly did. Just making sure I can hear you. It's
I can yell.
Increasingly difficult.
Another thing is, obviously, the coach has a lot of impact, but something that actually Chris J told us in his interviews post-game in Bucharest was, I asked him how difficult it is for you as an in-game leader. Do you think you still have much? He says, my team helps me so much. It's like incredible. I call something at the start, but then everyone gives me so much input and information, and everyone has good ideas that it's really like a team effort more so than me like being the leader and telling everyone what to do.
And although Fnatic did fall, I feel like it would be foolish not to touch on them in positive light at all, because that start was strong, right? And you outlined beforehand, we talked about, in fact, it was actually Janko, that JW makes space. And we saw prime examples of that, right? I mean, he was like top of the scoreboard, double digits, and Fnatic was 6-0 up.
Yeah, when you see JW fragging, you're expecting Fnatic to be winning, right? Because he's normally the recent times anyway has been down the bottom of the scoreboard. He hasn't been able to put up consistent performances, and here he came out guns blazing. He was doing exactly that, making space, making a lot of frags, having a lot of impact. It just wasn't enough. Another one to note for me was Dennis. He was making some big boy plays, right? He had his big boy pants on, pushing inside, getting a lot of flanks early, and it looked like they had full control of the match. But as soon as those 2 clutches came in, it started to spiral back in the favor of old mates Mouse, and they closed strong.
It is cool to see a team now, like you touched on already, that is a full unit, a full team. Perhaps sometimes we find ourselves on analyst desk in particular talking about this player has, is the win condition. These 2 players are the win condition. We struggle to really do that with Mouse because we find ourselves lifting all of them. Chris J has some good tools in his arsenal.
Absolutely. I mean, Robs had impact in this game as well. I think the first gun round they won, or the second one, was Lowell and Dennis getting all of the kills. Lowell getting a very important triple kill, even with the Galil, I think it was. So every player on the team has their rounds. I think still in this game, probably Oscar was the most impactful, simply because those 2 rounds that he clutched, if he loses either of them, MouseSports kind of get reset there, and Fnatic reestablishes control of the economy, probably ends with at least like 10 rounds in the first half.
Yeah, you have to talk about how poor their gun rounds were though, right? Because they did have a 6-in-a-row lead, but that's the back of getting pistol and then, forcing them onto eco and then another gun round. So early on they were doing fine, and then they won the second half pistol as well. So 9 of their rounds are already made up from there. They just really struggled in the gun rounds.
And MouseSports managed to close that one out. There's not too much more to be said because we'll see so much more of them as our days do continue here. But our next game should promise to be equally, if not more, exciting. Yes, indeed. A team that is immortalized in Counter-Strike, none other than Virtus Pro, are going to be taken to the stage now to take on the Immortals, hailing from Brazil. Join us after the break here as ESL 1 Cologne does continue.
The Pay Safeguard post-match breakdown.